everyone. Thanks for taking time to connect in the middle of the week. I come today to bring to you a word of gratitude. Gratitude to you and the faith community. Gratitude for the many unexpected gifts in this season. And ironically, I am reflecting on gratitude and some of the gifts I've received while wearing my red Pentecost shirt, which is a gift from someone in our faith community to me. So I am reflecting on ways in which I am grateful to you and this faith community. And like my shirt says, the ways in which we are still being the church. I know that there has been a lot of talk, especially in the last few days, around what it means to have the church open. And when they say that, I think they're meaning the church building. When we're talking about the church being open, there's been a lot of conversation around, but the church isn't closed. Because we are people who are the church. It's not a facility, but we know the importance of being able to have a space to gather as well. And so I'm reflecting on the gifts of how I have received you all still being the church, wherever you are, however it is that you serve. I shared on Sunday while we were worshiping together that when Sindel sent me the video for How Can I Keep From Singing, that I was having a really hard day that day. It was one of those days when everything felt overwhelming. It was actually also the day that we got guidance from our bishop around how reopening might happen and what that might look like in our churches. And it was really overwhelming. None of it necessarily surprising, but the process of what it might look like, the phases, the steps that we go to ensure that we can do this safely, the thought of it, seeing it all laid out before me, was really overwhelming in that moment. And so that was how my day was feeling like it's too much, and I don't know how, I don't know when we will be open as a building. And then Sindel sent me this video, which when I watched it reminded me that not that it doesn't matter, but that we are still being the church. Right now, right where we are, the ways in which we are connecting and gathering with one another. When I saw the video, I cried happy tears because my everything being overwhelming was suddenly lifted in this moment when I received a gift of the faith community. I was so overwhelmed at being able to see faces I hadn't seen. There were a number of new faces in the video on Sunday, How Can I Keep From Singing? New faces in worship in general that day, actually. And so I was just overcome at the ways in which folks are still resilient and adaptive and creative, and the ways in which we are offering our gifts to one another to still create worship, to still be people of worship, of faith, of service in the world. And so in that moment, I cried happy tears of relief. It was like a balm for the soul that had been so tired, so anxious, to see the beauty of what it means when we say we're in this together. I think what it means when we say we are in this together is that we're not competing against one another, but we are all of us offering our own gifts creatively, generously, for the good of the community, to create places and communities of worship wherever it is that we are, to serve those most in need. I have been overwhelmed at hearing the ways in which you are continuing to serve in your community where you are. I know I have lost count. I know those who are making the masks have not lost count, but I've lost count of how many hundreds of masks you've sewn for folks in the community, for those on the front lines who need them. I have heard of folks who are continuing their regular appointments to donate blood because that is something they're able to do. The folks who are adding hours at the food bank to help meet need, to continue to feed those who are hungry in our communities. I am so in awe. The folks who are calling people again and again, writing cards, sending letters. I sent out some letters and I actually got one back this week from Aram, and it was just so delightful. It was this gift in which I had realized I don't know if I otherwise would send cards and consider becoming pen pals, and yet here in this season, I am. I'm learning things about you that I would not otherwise have known. I'm loving hearing how you're using this time to continue to connect, to nurture in your community, in your gardens, to care for the people in your lives that you care about deeply. I am so inspired at hearing all of this, at knowing you in a new way, in a different way. And the other thing is that this is a season when it is easier than ever, or perhaps more accessible than ever, for folks to experience worship. Churches that were not before online, or online to the same extent that they suddenly are there. They're present. Folks can find them. And one of the gifts of that is that with this idea that we are indeed all in this together, and in this, we might think of this season, but also just think of the mission of God's kingdom come, the mission of Christ's good news, God's love made known in the world. We're all in that mission together. And one of the great gifts is that I'm able to hear my colleagues and their videos and their reflections in ways that are really renewing for me. The prayer times that we share, that I share with them, that I share with you in our faith community, these are gifts that are reminding me of the beautiful witness of community, beautiful witness of what it means when we are people who are the church, wherever we are. Even when we cannot share the same space, how we are still sharing the same mission of God's love made known in the world. And so today, I simply want to say thank you. Thanks for being an inspiration to me. Every single picture you have shared, every comment, every card or note or phone call or text has really brightened my day. To be reminded of the witness of faith community, to be reminded of the witness of what it means and the difference it makes when we are the church together. So, my friends, I know we are anxious to be together in the same space. And I hope that we will continue in this season to carry on in the creative, the adaptive, the resilient ways in which we share our gifts with one another, so that we might all be inspired and encouraged all the more. Thanks for being church with me. Thanks for being a great witness of it, for me to lift us up on the hard days. And may God's peace be with you. Bye.